Alrighty, now here we go with X's and O's, courtesy of the Minnesota Lottery, with Minnesota Vikings head coach Kevin O'Connell off a fantastic Monday Night Football victory over one of the best teams in the National Football League, the San Francisco 49ers, into a game against the Green Bay Packers. And off that Niners game, Addison now has 6, so he's tied with Diggs for second behind Tyreek Hill. The quarterback has 16, which leads the NFL. Daniil has 9, which leads the NFL. Darisaw played lights out. The point being, the stars needed to shine against a team like that, and they did.
Yeah, they did. Across the board, there was so many performances where we knew going into the game, we challenged some of our guys. We put together a game plan that would really highlight our guys just going out there and playing fast, turning it loose. Did not want our guys hesitating at all. And even after a really great play by Ward to start the play, start the game, we get a great run, and then there we are, kind of with that feeling. And despite what maybe a lot of people were thinking in the moment, there wasn't one person on our sideline that were saying to themselves, "Here we go again." It was about the response. Defense gets the ball out. We go 89 yards for a touchdown and don't give the lead back.
Right, and the stars shining on Monday Night Football needed to beat a Kyle Shanahan coach team for sure. But how about the unsung?
Yeah.
I mean, from the beginning, let's begin with the defensive line. From my standpoint, it looked from afar like certain members of the defensive line had their best collective games of the season, specifically from a physicality standpoint. Phillips, Bullard, and Lowry took the fight to the Niners. How key was that?
Yeah, played on their side of the line of scrimmage. We knew we had to defeat the blocks inside. If they were going to try to either, be more, edge-centric, trying to make sure they had more bodies on Daniil or DJ Wanham, we knew we still needed to set edges, but if we could defeat the blocks inside, play on their side of the line of scrimmage, we could talk them out of some of the run game things that they normally can make so lethal versus most of the teams they play. So I thought Dean Lowry played a fantastic football game. Bullard and Phillips, like you said, were just ultra consistent, and that really allowed the other guys to show up, from the second level. Safeties coming down, Harry and Cam and Metellus. But just across the board, when I watched our tape, it just felt like all 11 guys on the same page. Flo had those guys and his staff so prepared, and they made that game plan come to life.
And the offensive line, the Minnesota Moving Company, and I felt the tone was set on the first offensive play of the game with Madison going 19 with that nice little outside run, with Reisner starting it, then Bradbury over here, and Darisaw burying somebody. Do you feel that was a tone-setting situation for, hey, here's what we're going to offer tonight?
Yeah, I thought it was huge, and really it was kind of a highlight of what the night was going to be about. We end up kind of canning the play, getting to a secondary run on that thing based upon Kirk getting us into a really good look. And then just the execution, Oliver on the edge, Darisaw, like you said, climbing to the second level. Dalton Reisner's first snap couldn't have been better as far as his hand placement, running his defender, 10, 15 yards down the field. And then you see Bradbury show up, really taking 2 at the end there. And Alex just physical downhill forward finishing run, was a tempo tone setter for us. And then we still have that setback and respond to it. I look at last night as Monday night as a culmination of really what our first 6-7 weeks of the season have been. And the best part about it, P, is I feel like our team has learned from the adversities we have faced, and we've treated it as an opportunity to grow and respond and have the experience to do that. And I think that's going to bode really well for us as we move forward through the rest of the season.
And as the unsung would go, Brandon Powell, all right, all 5'8" of him. I mean, the 4 catches were all in the second half. They all went from, of course you know this, but in case somebody doesn't, they all went for first downs. There were a couple on third down when you were holding this thing and milking this thing.
Yep.
And he was just such an unsung piece of the way things developed on Monday night. What'd you like?
With Jordan having the game he did and TJ having the game he did, Brandon can be forgotten. And some of those plays that he made, showing up for Kirk when Kirk's hanging in there, manipulating the pocket, working through progressions. Brandon Powell has just been so steady from the moment he arrived here. And the moment is never too big for him. When Jordan goes out, he has to move, a couple spots around the formation, and I thought our execution of some of the details we wanted to have on third down was just phenomenal for a group. Tristan Jackson comes in the game. N'Keal Harry comes in the game. TJ goes down for a few snaps, and we just had the next man up mentality, and the execution did not lapse at all. Can't say enough about those guys, but BP, with JJ being out and stepping into a more premier role, has just responded. There's no other way to say it. He's one of our toughest players mentally and physically, and I think he's really earned the trust of all the other guys in that offensive huddle. Well,
the old tush push, and I would imagine when you repped it in practice during the course of the week, it went exactly how you wanted it to go, and then there we are. And a couple of times it didn't necessarily work well. What do you think of that whole concept, and just what led you to doing that?
Well, you're right there at the 1 yard line after the PI call on Jordan, and it's tough front to run the ball in. If you're going to line your back up 8 yards deep and try to hand it to him, you're going to be dealing with Warner and Greenlaw and Bosa and the whole group. So we thought we'd have an opportunity. We've been successful on that play, about 4 or 5 times this year.
Yeah.
Fred Warner going over the top, perfectly timing it up.
Superman.
We might have had a little crease to maybe get in there. We come back and try to do it again, and we tried to get a little creative with the snap count, and ultimately didn't even really get that second opportunity snapped. And our low red zone execution, we've got to find a way to get a little cleaner. We had a couple chances to maybe hit Jordan on one, and then Alex Madison or Johnny Munn on another in the pass game. But overall, PA, for where I think our football team's going, I've got to do a better job, continuing to put our team in the best possible situation to finish drives. And then we are going to run the football down there. As coaches, just like we've done in the field of play, we're going to continue to find the best possible resources and tools we can use within our allotment of players we have up to find a way to gain an advantage and try to punch that ball in.
And I don't like to be second-guessing guy at all, because I just have done it long enough to know there's just a voluminous amount of stuff that goes into even one decision.
Yeah.
But you being a former quarterback, passing game has been high end since the minute you got here. So like when you get down there around the one and you want to do this push bit, do you ever think to yourself, man, I got 6 pass plays here that, I kind of feel would work too. Do you have to battle that?
I fight that battle every time we're down there, because I have a lot of confidence in our ability to play pass, keepers, different variations of plays that look like runs that might not be, and we've had a lot of success. I think there's a reason why Kirk Cousins leads the NFL in touchdown passes, and that's because when we get down there, we're gonna take our ops and try to run that football in. But at the same time, if we can manipulate, if we could take advantage of the looks we think we're gonna get, we're gonna do that. But I think as a team mentality, like I said, where we're headed, we're gonna need that phase of our team to come to life. Because last night, if we're able to turn a couple of those 3-pointers into 7, that game might be totally different there at the end. And but like I said, what an accomplishment for our team to get that done against that opponent. We've now played really 3 of the top 4 teams, and when you look at the AFC and NFC championship games from a year ago, and feel like we had a pretty darn good chance to win all those football games. So. Looking at where we're at as a team, I'm incredibly confident in our group. I love the way we've responded and really grown through this early stretch of the season. Now it's about consistency. Now it's about knowing what we can be and going and showing it each and every Sunday we get.
So you from the unsung to the underrated, you went 8 of 13 on third down, and that was off a 3-week stretch where you were converting them 11.5% of the time.
Yep.
So I mean, like what got so squared away last night with Monday with third down against them?
Yeah, I think PA, it's a combination of the protection. I think those guys answering the bell and giving Kirk time. I thought Kirk Cousins played, elite quarterback play on some of those third downs. I mean, there's some where he's hitting his first progression versus man coverage, and it's kind of a schemed up play. There's others where he's reading coverage and isolating defenders in zone and finding eligibles. There's other, even the Tristan Jackson, third down to set up Greg's 50-plus yard field goal there. That's just a smart football play. Soft coverage, take the underneath, put the ball in play, and just understand the moment of the game. It's not always going to be the flashy plays that win football games. Those plays are going to come. The explosives are going to come. but how often can we just play smart, make the right decision with the football in our hands? I thought our ball security was great across the board, but there's no question, PA, the third down execution was so critical. To be able to win the time of possession, sustain drives, and let Kirk Cousins stay hot all night, he was fantastic.
So now the team in just a few days leaves for Appleton, and in 4 days plays the Green Bay Packers. So off Monday Night Football, from a coaching standpoint, what is impacted by a short week?
Yeah, we've got to make sure first and foremost that we show up to Lambeau on Sunday with a fresh football team. Historically, teams that play the San Francisco 49ers, they wear it for the next week, and we did come out relatively healthy. Our guys battled, all night long. Guys coming back from cramps like Jordan or TJ, getting hobbled a couple times, finishing the game was critically important for us. So we feel like the recipe will be making sure we take care of our guys. We still have to have some physical preparation. I think that was key for last week, and it'll be the same thing. But to me, it's our second opportunity in the NFC North. What an opportunity for our team. What a challenge against the team. Defensively, I know they're very, very good, and offensively, they're very talented. So we've got to make sure we're at our best and go up there and get our second NFC North win.
How valuable to you and your staff is Coach Mike Pettine?
Yeah.
He's multifaceted.
Yep.
How important is he?
Well, I think it's been awesome to see Flo and Coach Pett really collaborate as we've gone on throughout the season. Flo, first and foremost, true leadership, embracing some ideas. How do we take something and make it better? And then Mike Pettine's experience coming into play. And those two guys, Durante, Saravo, the rest of our defensive staff, really putting together plans that our guys can go totally own, but yet cause chaos and confusion and just make that quarterback hold it for one more click and or generate a free runner and try to go hit him and get him on the ground. It's a combination of a lot of really smart people, great coaches that can communicate to players, and then lastly, the players making it all come to life, and really want our defense to keep building on the performance they had this past week.
And finally, before you get into this Green Bay game, or like right when you got into it, just how strange and how eye-opening was it when you put on the film, the tape, and it wasn't Rodgers?
Yeah.
Okay, it's Love, but it wasn't Rodgers. I mean, did that like, whoa, hey.
Yeah, it's it as soon as he went to the Jets, and he's not going to be there. You still turn on the tape and you're looking for number 12, just because forever and ever and ever it's been that. But I'll tell you what, Jordan Love's a very, very talented player. You can see why they were so excited about him. And like many young quarterbacks in this league, he makes some fantastic throws, and then there's some learning experiences for him. He's getting better every single week. I think they feel good about their skill players, getting Aaron Jones back healthy to go along with Dylan. It's going to be a challenge. This offense always is. Matt and his staff do a great job putting together game plans. So we've got to make sure as a staff we respond and give our players a great plan in all three phases and go up there and get it done.
Great job. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Kevin O'Connell, head coach of the Minnesota Vikings, and I'm Paul Allen. Keenan McCardell, the wide receivers coach, joins us next on X's and O's on the KFAN Minnesota Vikings Radio Network and also at Vikings.com.